Hare Krishna devotees, my humble obeisances to all of you and Dandvat Pranam. I welcome you all to early morning short Bhagavatam classes. These classes have been organized by the Radha Govinda Temple, Kulai, Mangalore, and I invite you for and on behalf of His Grace Sri Ramanista Das Prabhuji. As usual, let us begin with our prayers. We say prayers so that we get the strength and understanding whatever Lord Krishna wants us to learn. Om Agnyantimirantasya Gnananjanushalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Saragunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagar Dalitam Shri Visakhan Vitansh हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. May I request you to follow me? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yam pravrajantamanupetamapetakruthyam dvaipayano virahakatar ajuhava.
Yam Pravrajantam Manupetamapetakrityam Dvaipayano Virakataramajuhava.
पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तर्वोऽभिनेदु सं सर्वभूतहृदयं मणिमानतोऽस्मि.
पुत्रेति तन्मयतया सर्वोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानितोऽस्मि।
यः स्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपमतितितीर्षतां तमोन्दम्.
यस्त्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितीर्षतां तमोऽन्धम्।
संसारिणामकरुणयाः प्राणगुह्यं तं व्याससुनमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनाम्.
संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुमुनीनाम्।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्.
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये.
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो
ततो
जयमुदीरये।
जयमुदीरये।
शृणतां स्वकथः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनः
शृण्वतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः।
हृदयन्तः विधुनोति सुरस्तथा
हृदयन्तस्तोहि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुरस्तथा।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
अप्रदेषु
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवतसेवया।
भागवतसेवया।
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी
भगवती
भगवती
उत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भगवती
भक्ति।
Can you see my screen with the 5, 10, 3?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we are taking today 5th canto, 10th chapter. Try and take 3 of the slokas. They are all small. Number 3, number 4, and number 5. Let us start with number 3. Madhubai Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अथात्ता ईश्वर वचः सोपालम्बम् उपाकर्ण्य उपाय तुरीयात् शङ्कितमनस्तम् विज्ञापयाम् बभूवुः। थैंक यू प्रभुजी।
Thank you Mataji. Anjali Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. अथ त ईश्वर वचः स उपालम्भम् उपकर्ण्या उपाय तुर्यात् संकीतः मनसः तं विज्ञापयाम बभूवुः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी।
Thank you Mataji. Venkata Narsiha Das Prabhuji.
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna
प्रभुजी।
Prabhuji.
अथ ईश्वरवचः स्वपालम्बम् उपाकर्ण्यो उपातु उपाय तुरीयात् संगीतमनस्तस्थं विज्ञापयाम बभूव। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Pushpam Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अत ईश्वर वसः सोपालम्बम् उपाकर्ण्यो पायत्रुयात् संगीत मनसस् तं विज्ञापयाम बभूष। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। थैंक
Thank
यू।
you Mataji. Vijaya Kumari Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अददा ईश्वर वशो शोभलाम्बम् उभाकर्ण्यो दुरीयत् संगीतमनन सस्तं विज्ञापयाम बभूष। हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी। थैंक यू प्रभुजी।
Thank you Mataji. Madhusoni Mataji, Hare Krishna
हरे
Mataji.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अथ ते ईश्वर वचः स उपालम्भम् उपाकर्ण्य उपाय तुरीयात् शङ्कित मनसः तम विज्ञापयाम बभूः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you Mataji. Subharao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna and Ananda
हरे
Pranam.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी। दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। अथ त ईश्वरवचः सोपालम्भम् उपाकर्ण्योपायः तुरीयाच्छङ्गित मनसस्तं विज्ञापयां बभूवुः. हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prafulla Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अथ सह ईश्वरवच स्वपालमं उपाकर्ण्य उपायुक्तुर्यत संकितमनस्तं विज्ञाप्यं बभूव। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Revati Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
Pranam.
अत तत् ईश्वरं वचः सौपल्यमुपकं कर्णपर्यो या तुरीयाच किन्तमनसस्तं विज्ञानभयं बभूवः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you. Revati Mataji, would you be able to take synonyms for us?
यस प्रभु जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
अतः thus they, the carriers of the palanquin, Ishvara Vacha, the words of the master, King Raghugana, Sa Upalambam, with reproach, Upakarna, hearing, Upaya, the means, Turidayat, from the fourth one, Sangeeta Manasaha, whose minds were upright, Tam, him, into bracket, the king, Vijanapayam, Babubaha, informed. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Revati Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the palanquin carriers heard the threatening words of Maharaj Rahuguna, they became very afraid of his punishment and began to speak to him as follows. Purport. According to the political science, a king sometimes tries to pacify his subordinates, sometimes chastises them, sometimes divides them, and sometimes rewards them. In this way, the king rules his subordinates. The bearers of the palanquin could understand that the king was angry and that he would chastise them. This is basically talking of political science. So when we'll discuss the political science. Let's see the next verse. This is verse number 4 in the same chapter. Madhumayi Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नावयं नरदेव प्रमत्ता भवन्नियमानपथाः साध्वेव वहामः अयमधुनैव नियक्तोऽपि न द्रुतं व्रजति नानेन सह वोढुं हावयं पारयामा इति। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Anjali Mataji, go ahead.
न वयं नरदेव प्रमत्ताः भवनियमा अनुपथाः साधु इव वहामः अयम् अधुना इव नियुक्तः अपि न द्रुतं व्रजति न अनेन सह वोढुम् उह्यं परमायः इति। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Subbarao Prabhuji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Thanks.
न वयं नरदेव प्रमत्ता भवन्नियमानुपथा साध्वेव वहामः अयमधुनैव नियुक्तोऽपि न द्रुतं व्रजति नानेन सह वोढुमुह वयं पारयाम इति। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Venkata Narsiya Das, Prabhuji. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Navayam Naradeva Pramatta Bhayaniya Manupadha Sadheva Vahama Ayamadhunaiva Naiva Niyuktopi Nadrutam Rajati Anena Saha Odumoha Vayam Parayama Itihi. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Madhusoni Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। न वयं नरदेव प्रमत्ता भवनीयम अनुपथः साध्वेव वहामः अयमधुनैव नियुक्त अपि न द्रुतं व्रजति नानेन सह वोढुमोह वयं पारयाम इति। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Revati Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। न वयं न देव ब्रह्मात्मवन् नियामनोपदः सात्वयेव लहामः अयम् अतुनैव नियुक्तो अभिनतृत्वं व्रजति नानेन सह वोढुम् उह वयं पार्याम इति। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Prafulla Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank
न
you.
वयं नरदेव प्रमत्ता भवनीयमानुपथः साध्वेवहमः अयम् अधुमधुनीयवं नियुक्त अपि न द्रुतं व्रजति नानेन सह वोढुम् वयं पर्याम इति। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। थैंक यू प्रभु।
Thank you, Mother. Thank you. Subbarao Prabhuji, can you read synonyms for us?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Na, not. Vayam, we. Naradeva, O Lord among human beings. The king is supposed to be the representative of Deva, the supreme personality of Godhead. Pramattaha, neglectful in our duties. Bhavat niyama anupadaha, who are always obedient to your order. Sadhu, properly. Eva, certainly. Vahamaha, we are carrying. I am this man. Adhuna, just recently. Eva, indeed. Niyuktaha, being engaged to work with us. Api, although. Na, not. Drutam, very quickly. Vrajati, works. Na, not. Anena, him. Saha, with. Vodhum, to carry. Uha, oh. Vayam, we. Parayamaha, are able. Itti, thus. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Subbarao Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire. But this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The other palanquin carriers were Sudras, whereas Jad Bharata was not only a high caste Brahmana, but also a great devotee. Sudras do not sympathize with other living beings, but a Vaishnava cannot act like a Sudra. Whenever a Sudra and Brahmana Vaishnava are combined, there will certainly be imbalance in the execution of duties. The Sudras were walking with the palanquin without at all caring for the ants on the ground, but Jad Bharat could not act like a Sudra and therefore difficulty arose. This is talking all about Varnashram Dharma, which we will discuss. We'll take the last verse. That's verse number 5, the same chapter. Madhumayi Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। सांसर्गिको दोष एव नूनम् एकस्यापि सर्वेषां सांसर्गिकाणां भवितुम् अर्हति इति निश्चित्य निशम्य कृपणवचो राजा रहुगणा उपासित वृद्धो अपि निसर्गेण बलात्कृत ईषदुत्थिता मन्युः अविस्पष्ट ब्रह्म तेजसं जातवेदसं इव रजसा आवृत मतिर्आह। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Venkata Narsiha Das Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। सांसारिको दोष एव मानमेकप्यापि सर्वेषां सांसारिकाणां भवितुमर्हति इति निश्चित्य निशम्य कृपणवचो राजा रहुगण उपासित वृद्धोऽपि निसर्गेण बलात्कृत ईषदुत् मन्युरवि स्पष्ट ब्रह्म तेजसं जातवेदं समिव रजसा आवृत मतिराह। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Madhusoni Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। सांसर्गिकः दोष एव नूनम् एकस्यापि सर्वेषां सांसर्गिकाणां भवितुम् अर्हति निश्चित्य निशम्य कृपणवचो राजा रहुगणा उपासित वृद्धो अपि निसर्गेण बलात्कृत ईषदुत्थिम् अन्युर अविस्पष्ट ब्रह्म तेजसं जातवेदसमिव रजसा आवृतम् अतिरः। थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Anjali Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण। सांसर्गिकः दोष एव नूनम् एकस्य अपि सर्वेषां सांसर्गिकाणां भवितुम् अर्हति इति निश्चित्य निशम्य कृपणवचः राजा रहुगणाः उपसितः वृद्धः अपि निसर्गेण बलात्कृतः ईशत उत्थितः मन्युः अविस्पष्ट ब्रह्म तेजसं जातवेदसमिव रजसा आवृतमतिः अह। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Subbarao Prabhuji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. सांसर्गिको दोष एव नूनमेकस्यापि सर्वेषां सांसर्गिकाणां भवितुमर्हतीति निश्चित्य निशम्य कृपणवचो राजा रहुगण उपासित वृद्धोऽपि निसर्गेण बलात्कृत ईश दुत्थितमन्युरविस्पष्टा ब्रह्म तेजसं जातवेदसमिव रजसावृतमतिराः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
Thank you, Subbarao Prabhuji. Anjali Mataji, would you be able to read synonyms for us?
Yes प्रभु जी।
Go ahead, please.
सांसर्गिकाः resulting from intimate association, दोषः a fault, eva indeed, nunam certainly, ekasya of one, api although, sarvesham of all other, sansargikanam persons associated with him, bhavitum to become, arhati is able, iti thus, nishchitya ascertaining, nishamya by hearing, Kripana Vachaha, the words of the poor servants who were very afraid of being punished. Raja, the king. Rahuganaha, Rahuguna. Upasita Vruddhaha, having served and heard many from many elderly sages. Api, in spite of Nisargena, by his personal nature, which was that of the Kshatriya, Bala, by force, Kritaha, done, Ishata, slightly, Uttita, awakened, Manyuha, whose anger, Avispatha, not being distinctly visible, Brahmana Tejasam, his, Jadabharata, spiritual effulgence, Jata Vedasam, a fire covered by ashes in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, Eva, like Rajasa Avarta, covered by the mood of passion, Matiha, whose mind, Aha, said, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Anjali Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Rahugana could understand the speeches given by the carriers who are afraid of being punished. He could also understand that simply due to the fault of one person, the palanquin was not being carried properly. Knowing this perfectly well and hearing their appeal, he became a little angry. Although he was very advanced in political science and was very uh, experienced, his anger arose due to his inborn nature as a king. Actually, King Rahugana's mind was covered by the mode of passion, and he therefore spoke as follows to Jadbharat, whose Brahman effulgence was not clearly visible, being covered like a fire covered by ashes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The distinction between Rajoguna and Sattva-guna is explained in this verse. Although the king was very upright and advanced in political science and governmental management, he was nonetheless in the mode of passion, and therefore, due to a slight agitation, he became angry. Jadbharat, just despite all kinds of injustice he endured because of his deaf and dumb display, remained silent by the strength of his spiritual advancement. Nonetheless, his Brahma Teja, his Brahman effulgence was indistinctly visible in his person. This is basically describing three modes of material nature and the mode of passion in particular. These three verses are like a story. I took it together because one step was going to the next step, and if we take it separately, linking would be difficult. Political science, as you know, is a science which is absolutely second most important and the second oldest science in the world. It is said that the first science was the science of God. Then came the political and the medical science. Political science because someone has to lead whosoever are together living in chaos. And the medical science because time and again when one gets ill, he needs to be taken care of. So these are considered to be two oldest science in the world. Shama, Dama, Danda, Bhed, we all know, are the four distinct ways of controlling all the subordinates and commanding them into a kind of an organized machinery. The government, state, and the nations have become so sophisticated and so well-running machineries now that unless someone has gone through the political science and learned all about the basics and the advances of Shamadhammadanda Ved, he would not be able to run the country or the mechanism and the machineries that keeps the country going. So very well advanced science, but the basics we are seeing here is that, as Srila Prabhupada very nicely says, that subordinates are sometimes pacified, sometimes chastised. So you go on both ends of the extreme, so that the people under you remain comfortable and perform and execute their prescribed duties. Prabhupada also says that these subordinates need to be taken care of most of the time. Here, now the workers who are lifting the palanquin have realized that now king is angry and he is about to chastise them. Before he chastises and commits himself for some punishment immediately, they are putting up their case so that king would consider and at least free three of them who are not at all at fault. It's only Jad Bharat who is apparently at fault here. The next verse is vividly explaining all about the Varnashram Dharma. There are 4 Varna and 4 ashramas. These are kind of division of the prescribed duties and division of the lifespan, so that ultimately at the end of the life, we all achieve number 1, perfection in the prescribed duty, and number 2, we realize ourselves and go back to Godhead or have salvation of ourselves. It's described here that when you mix up 2 varnas, then the problem starts, and that problem is unsurmountable. That's why most of the time a team has typical characteristic of one kind. People call that birds sitting together who has the same feathers. It is said here that Sudras are not really very keen to take care of other living beings, or they do not really care for other human beings, simply because they have to work so hard that survival for them in itself is a big task. Whereas the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are born to take care of others at their cost at some times. Kshatriyas, Vaishnavas are all, and Brahmanas are all responsible for the upkeeping and taking care of living beings. We have learned earlier that in any kingdom, the Kshatriya would look after the human being, Vaishyas or business communities will look after the animal kingdom. And so also the Brahmanas looking after all of them, especially human beings, for their spiritual advancement and karma kanda. So this is what has been described here so nicely and so well, that if you mix up the Brahmana and Sudra as it has been done here, out of 4 people who are lifting palanquin, 3 are Sudras. They don't care whether the ants die or live, and so it doesn't matter, and they never wait. They just jump from one step to another step in a pace that is quick and swift enough for the palanquin to be steady and flowing. However, Jadbharat doesn't understand that. He takes care of the ants. He takes care of even the ants. And that's why he's looking for ants down on the ground. And when he finds one, he wants that ant to cross until then he stops. The moment ant crosses, he steps further. And this creates disharmony between four of the palanquin holders. And that leads to a rough ride, which is not acceptable by the king. And that's why now king has been angry. The question is why the king is angry. And it's very nicely written here by Srila Prabhupada that we all are governed by three modes of material nature. And most of the time, kings are in a sattvic mode because they have learned political science very well. They are master of management. And so they should be in a sattvic mode, being the representative of the Lord himself. It is said that the kings and queens are representing and representative of the Lord on the planet Earth. And thus they always rule for and on the name of Almighty God. They always remain as Das. There are so many temples in South India which has a lot of treasure. Some treasures you can't imagine. Let aside the treasure of US or developed countries like England, was stolen from world over, and still their treasure is not coming nearer to the treasure that Padmanabha temple or Tirupati temple has. But the king of that area is always considered as the owner of the treasure. But recently, during the opening of the Padmanabha temple, when the king was asked that, do you owe these? All he had to say was yes, because the whole temple is under him. And he does first puja every day in Padmanabha temple. But he politely disagreed and said that this treasure belongs to God and I also belong to God because I am just his sevak. So we expect kings to be in a sattva guna. However, here the mode of passion comes in, and this mode of passion has come in because of the unequal ride or a very rough ride. And that's why he is agitated, and that's why King's Sattva Guna has been less predominant, but passion has become very prominent. And that's why he got angry. So now we know the reason why king who shouldn't get angry should be in a Sattva Guna, but when agitated by events around him, he jumps into a mode of passion, and passion creates anger as a first defense. So these three verses are explaining to us how things move from one to another, that the kings are always master of management and political science, that the mixing of Sudras and Brahmanas would create havoc and would not allow execution of their duties very well, and that things that are happening around you, all the turbulences that occur around you, does change your mode and steps you down one mode at a time. Any question, any revelation, any addition? Any comments? If there are no other comments or anything, we can go to the last slide of Shravanam. Yes? Any questions? Go ahead, Madhuswani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it's a realization. Most of the time we think we are in Satoguna and practicing, or we are doing everything in a very good way. But when any small problem and trouble comes, our mode changes very easily, Prabhuji. Like we certainly come down. So yeah, it's very practical explanation, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
that's very true. Very, very true. That's why we are fallible. The difference between the Lord and us is Lord is infallible because nothing really touches him. He is the perfect and nothing really changes anything inside him or outside. Whereas we are so fallible that something changes and all our reactions suddenly reverses or suddenly steps down. All our virtues, which at times we feel are apparent, uh, disappears, and somehow all those notoriously negative things jumps up in us so quickly. That's very, very true, Mataji. Very true. Any other question? Any other revelation? The other day we learned about the Shravanam, and we learned that we must have a faith, we must have a humility, we must have a flow of mind under control, and concentration, which is unswavering. If you have these four things, then and there, your Shravanam is fruitful and it helps you. So all four things are necessary. The next thing we learned is that the Shravanam is something which must have a linking ear and oral reception together. The environment should be good, both internal and external. And then we learn what is Shraddha, what is Varana, and what is Namrata. Shravanam otherwise becomes just a mechanical thing. And at the end, it is said that when you have a reception with the faith, taste, mercy, interest, and inspiration, some people even hear as if they just want to relieve the person who is talking. We must see through the ears. So you automatically, when you are doing Shravanam, as if you are seeing that thing through your ears, then it becomes a Sastra Chakshu. So second thing we learned is the Sastra Chakshu. And the last thing that we are learning today is the Shravanam process. This is very important. The process of Shravanam is very, very important and is described greatly in the purports of 1.8.36 and 2.2.36-37. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. Sometimes we feel that this part of Srimad Bhagavatam is more interesting than other. That's not actually true. when we heard the other thing which we thought is less important, that's where our Shravana was imperfect. Shravanam sets devotional disposition and vision with right inspiration and perception. Upon participating in Shravanam heartily and properly, you will be able to certainly further all the facilities of the fruits and fillings that has been imbibed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Any question, any query, any revelation? It's very important that we know the Shravanam. It's very important we spend so much of time in hearing in the classes. I'll tell you my own experience. I used to always feel that the classes are only for jotting down. So you jot down very important points and then at the end go home, read, and then realize what exactly was told in the class. After coming to a spiritual path, I realized that when you are listening, you rather culminate all your understanding and business there and there. If you don't understand, do not hesitate to ask and clear it, because you do not know when you will have a similar chance to ask a question again. And that's why when you do Shravanam, pay full attention, have full concentration, keep your mind tied up in the flow, and bathe in the things that are being flown to you or told to you. That's the right way of Shravanam. Are there any questions, any revelations? Am I too fast? I just want to know. Or this speed is good enough? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you explain the last part? Upon participating in Shravadam heartily and properly, we will be fed up of furthering facilities, fruits, favors, followers of fame. I could not understand this properly, Prabhuji.
It in nutshell says that Shravanam should be done by heart. Shravanam should be done by the ears, through the eyes, from the ears. What it says is listen to it in such a way that as if you are seeing that, and involve your heart so much that you interpret everything very well and understand everything well. If you don't do that, you understand, you get polluted, and that pollution doesn't bring nice fruits to you, doesn't really convince you, and all other things become secondary. Am I clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. When we hear, we have to hear in such a way that we have to visualize that.
Exactly.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
That will give fruits.
Yes. And so once when you are hearing, you are trying to visualize through ears. That's a perfect way of Shravana. And when you do that, see that your heart and minds do not run away somewhere. They are there to analyze it word by word. So that really will make all the changes and get you the perfect Shravana. Mataji, Shravanam is something, if you look at, Srila Prabhupada has been enforcing on us, saying it is the most important thing in this path of spiritualism. And so also, all the scriptures are also telling the same line. And that's why these things are very important. And so I brought it here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. When the Shravan is perfect, all other process will follow it automatically. They fall
Exactly.
in place.
Yeah.
That's what. is the message.
Yeah. When someone is giving us that, talking to us, we try and feel that, all right, let him finish. I'll go home, look at the book, find out all the references perfectly well and understand. No. When he is talking, then and then you understand everything, because probably he is talking much more sense than what you can gather at the stage of neophyte from books and sastras. And that's why each devotee who is telling something has a greater meaning in our understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I understood it properly, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Fine, if there is nothing else, thank you very much for all of you to attend the class. And I wish you all have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. And we'll see you tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kupasakipya vacha patita nama pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anek koti Vaishnav ki jai. Hare Krishna to everyone. My Dandavat pranam to all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna
Thank
Prabhuji,
you.
Dandavat pranam. Dhanyawad.
Namaste.